Welcome to the Unemployed Journeyman with Fukushima United in the J3 League, and this is a transfer special, an end of season review where after finishing 5th and only getting to the semi-finals of the playoffs, we want to at least get to the playoffs this season, but we need to make sure we put in a bit of a better squad than what we did last time round. Welcome to the video, folks. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel as well. And yeah, this is going to be an end of season review and a transfer special. And as you can see there, we finished 5th in the J3 League at the end of last season, got into the playoffs, into the semi-finals, and got knocked out by Fukushima very comfortably in the semi-final stage, to be fair. And, you know, our aim from the board was to get top 6, and that's what we've done. So we did have a successful season in that respect. And basically, they're going to want the same again this coming season. Now, what is quite strange is we played our last game of the season, the playoff, on the 7th of December. It's been a week since then. We've still not had any budgets come through. It's still saying we're overspent on our wage budget, even though once players have left, we're going to be under our wage budget. So I really need this to hurry up and tick over so that I know what I've got to play with, because we've got a lot of players leaving. We need to bring in a lot of players to make us better than what we was this season, because you look at this season, I mean, we were poor at the end. We were really poor here. I mean, this was around the time where we was looking at potentially getting the sack. And it was the rest of the season, it was just very inconsistent. We'd win a few games, we'd lose a couple, we'd win a few, we'd lose a couple. You know, it was very inconsistent. But yeah, let's get to the end of season review, and then after that we can look at who's going to be leaving and who's going to be coming in. Okay, so here's the end of season review. No trophies on there, pretty much understandable. Let's get into the new arrivals, and we would have had quite a few new arrivals last season, considering it's the lower part of the Japanese leagues. And yeah, so we've had the star signing was Yutaro Sakuda, which I probably don't argue with, to be honest. He came in on a free transfer. I mean, I'm not going to say free transfer all the time because they're all free transfers, but 35 appearances, 20 goals, 9 assists. He had a fantastic season. He really was awesome for us. And if we look at him, he's out of contract in 2026. So he will still be here this coming season, thankfully, because he's certainly a player we want to keep around and play just as good on the left or the right. Kichi Yajima, he came in, 35 appearances, 19 goals, 3 assists. He didn't start the best. I mean, he was out injured at the very beginning of the season, a couple of months. But eventually he got there in the end, and he is out of summer, 31st of January. So he's out of contract. So I say out of summer. He's out of contract very soon, because we can't negotiate contracts and we're overspent on our wage budget. We're probably going to be having to let him go. Yasuki Akiyama, 43 appearances, 3 goals, 12 assists as a right back, an average rating of 7.05. He was fantastic as well. 29 years old, same as Yajima. Then we had Ozeki, was in on loan, 40 appearances, 5 goals, 2 assists. He was in and out of the team to begin with. It was only in the later part of the season that he kind of found his place, and he was pretty good. Haragaya, for me, I kind of felt underperformed a little bit. He's a defensive midfielder. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh, but 37 appearances, 3 goals, 5 assists. Sawakami, who we had in that half a season we joined the club with, he was on loan then. He came in permanently this time round. 32 appearances, 5 goals, 5 assists. Even though his star rating is really poor, he always seems to perform really, really well. Lean J came in as well, 36 appearances, no goals, 3 assists as a central defender. Then we had Kato in as a defensive midfielder as well. Again, it was just really mainly a bit part player, Kato. Then we had Mayasuke Yamada, was he a right back and the other guy was and Akiyama was a left back? I think that was the way round they were. I'll be honest, I've had like 4 or 5 days away from the game. So yeah, Yamada was their right back, 37 appearances, no goals, 5 assists. Yoshimaru as a goalkeeper, weren't particularly great. Matsunagane, who I've had trouble with his name all season long, but seemed to have got there in the end. He was in on loan. He weren't great, but he was okay, I suppose. Sho Omori, 25-year-old centre back. That says it all, really. And Mohamed Al Musalami, that we brought in as an absolute emergency because we were getting short at the back and people were getting upset. He's made one substitute appearance, and that is all. So moving on to the season's results, we finished 5th. It says here finish in mid-table in the J3 League. That is completely and utterly wrong. They wanted us to get to the playoffs. So to say they wanted mid-table is completely wrong. Average home attendance was 1,340. Yajima with 17 goals in the league was our top goal scorer. Moments to remember, the biggest win was a 5-1 win against Toyama. Match to remember was a 2-1 win against Gunma in the All Japan Cup. And we played Gunma a few times last season. And goal of the season was from Sakada in the 4-2 win against Nara Club. In terms of revenue, sponsorship was down significantly. I mean, we had 2.34 million the previous season. Don't know where we got all that from. Only 963k this time round. Broadcast revenue was up. Corporate and hospitality was up. It was doubled. Competition prize money, it's red and says down, but it was zero. Previous season was zero as well. Match day commercial and retail was up as well. The shirt sales, 24,056 in domestic shirt sales. And the ones that sold the most was Sakada, Yajima, Haragaya, Yamada and Yoshimaru. 1.5 star reputation as well. Our best 11 for last season, Yoshimaru in goal, Akiyama left back, Yamada right back, Matsunagane and Lee J in the defence, Haragaya and Awano with Sakada, Ozeki, Misao and then Yajima up top. Yeah, I'll go with that, I suppose. In terms of the record breaks, I mean, there's a whole load of record breakers. It's a first full season at the club. What do you expect? Sakada, most goals by a player in a match. He got a hat-trick, basically. Most goals by a player in a league match was Sakada with 3 as well. Most clean sheets by a player in the season was Yoshimaru with just 5 clean sheets. That shows how poor we were defensively, really. Worst discipline was Yamada with 8 yellow cards. Youngest player was Kimura, 16 years and 52 days. He's our young right back that we've got. Then Yamamoto, the oldest player at 39 years and 150 days. Highest transfer fee received for Dohana, £20,000. And where are we? Here we are. And then oldest goal scorer, Misao, 36 years and 360 days. In terms of the player awards, Sakada was the fans player of the season. Sakada was the young player of the season. Sakada was the signing of the season. Sakada was the goal of the season. Sakada was the top goal scorer. I mean, you're just starting to see a trend here. Akiyama with the most assists, got 12 assists. Sakada couldn't do everything, I suppose. But then we get back to Sakada. Most player in the match awards was him. Highest average rating was him. And then most passes completed per 90 minutes was Suzu with 51. So, yeah, I think you can pretty much... I don't want to say we were a one-man team, but this pretty much says we were a one-man team. History in the making. Once Fukushima got rolling early in the season, it looked hard to stop them. Fukushima owe everything to a fantastic start to the season that gave them the foundations that they needed. Manager timeline is what the manager timeline is. Season preview is that. That's about bonuses paid out. Have a look at that if you want to see our top of Little Yuki. I do miss Little Yuki. Let's have a look at him. He's at Hashinoe. I mean, his contract runs out. Well, it's the end of next January. I've probably got... It says that only sign him as a last resort. You are kidding me. I'd sign him first up if I had the opportunity. I love you, Little Yuki. But anyway, enough about Little Yuki. Right, I'm going to forward on until either the transfer window opens or we get budgets set because, as you can see, we are still waiting for budgets to be set. In terms of their squad and contract expiry, we have a whole load of players. I mean, if we look at who's going to be gone before the season starts, oh my word. I mean, that is basically what we're looking at leaving before the season starts. That is 19 players. I mean, 3 of them on loan. But again, until I get budgets come in, either I can't offer them what they want or they just refuse to talk to me because we can't offer them financially what they want. So at the moment, we're looking at Sakada, Omori, Awano, Ueta and Lee J as the only players that are going to be here next season. This could be a very different squad. Right, we are back under our wage budget ever so slightly, so I thought I'd start having a look at some players that we could potentially get to re-sign for us. And this is for Masayuki Yamada, our right back. He wants £4,000, £4.7,000 a week, plus nearly £1,000 in an appearance fee. If we click this button once to see what the board will allow, I mean, there's no point even negotiating with him. They're only going to let me go as high as 1.8k. So we suggest, but he's really not interested. So we're walking away from that one. We look at Yajima, discuss new contract with agent. He's dubious about the idea, so I'm not going to give much away. He's going to want a wage of £5 to £6 a week. It's just not going to be possible. We'll look into it, but as you're going to see, I mean, look at that. How are we going to buy any decent players? I mean, let's have a look at someone like, do we go with Akiyama, who's 2.5 stars? Discuss new contract. Very interested. He wants 1.1 to 1.4k. I mean, to be fair, that's going to take us over our wage budget because we're only about 600-700 under it. But let's see, long term. I'm not committing to getting promoted. I don't even know if I'm going to have 11 players at the club to go out onto the field. Promotion wage rise of 35%. We'll lower that to 20 and lock it in. We'll lock in the loyalty and the agent's bonus. Can we get that down to 1,000? He wants 1.2. We want 1,000. Don't look like he's going to be willing to negotiate. So we're going to have to agree to 1.2. So Akiyama we may be keeping. Harrogate is probably going to be too much for us if we're being quite honest. I'm trying to look at players that we'd actually make use of. Miyazaki I think is retiring anyway. Yeah, he's retiring. Yoshimaru, because at the moment we don't have a goalkeeper. We discuss new contract with him. He's very interested. Okay. I think you're asking for far too much. Can we get him for under £1,000 a week? I very much doubt it. We're not going with that. And we'll lock that down to 20%. We'll lock that down. Let's go 900, see what comes up. 1.1, let's go 950. I mean, he's not even willing to negotiate, is he? 975? 1,000 maybe? No, I mean, can someone explain to this agent what a negotiation is meant to be? Because a negotiation is supposed to actually try and meet somewhere around the middle, but he's just like, no, it's 1.1 or we're not doing it. Right, Yoshimaru, looks like we're going to finalise your deal. At least that way we've got a goalkeeper. And I don't really know how we're going to get anybody else to sign, to be quite honest. I mean, did we try Yajima? I think we did, didn't we? We definitely tried Yamada. Haragaya, did we try him? Oh, he's not interested. Well, if we did try him, that's why he's not interested. Yeah, I mean, Sawakami. Can we potentially get you to join? He's highly interested. He's reasonable price. I mean, if you go by his rating, he's absolutely rubbish anyway. That's probably why he's very interested. So let's see if we can tie Sawakami down. Because to be fair, he's actually been very decent for us. 1 year extension after league games. Let's take that out. Have 20% in that. We'll lock in the loyalty and the agent fee. Can we get this down to 400? No, he's gone up to 500 now. Can we get to 450? 450. 450. I mean, how is this a negotiation? You've upped it from what you wanted and fine, we'll finalise it. Right, so we might be getting a few players in. I'll show you what I mean in terms of this. Again, unless we've had something come through now. Yeah, we've still had nothing saying that the budget's been set for the new season. It says here next season's minimum guaranteed budget will be 124,000. So I don't know if we're going to get something come in here, but if this is not going to change, if we're not going to get more wage budget or some transfer budget that we can put into wage budget, I actually don't know how we're going to field a team for next season. Budgets have been set, and £124,633 is in the transfer budget. The wage budget is up to 19.7 thousand. So we are just about under the wage budget. We're going to be well under it by the time we have our committee spending becomes our current spending. If we want to adjust this, I mean, it's not letting us adjust it by much, but if we do want to adjust it, we can get it up to £22,000 in the wage budget. We'll leave it like that at the moment for 21,500, which will mean we'll have about just under £5,000 in the wage budget spent. I can't see how we're not going to be going over our wage budget. I really don't. If we look at our squad, we have had a couple of players sign new contracts. So Sagada and Akiyama and Sawakami have all agreed to stick around. What will probably be an idea is to come to our screen here and actually start to, let's clear everybody. Oh, hang on, what have I done now? Okay, that's fine. So if we go back to our squad, Yoshimaru will be sticking around so he can go into the goalkeeper position. Sawakami, we can say, will be attacking midfield left. Akiyama will be our left back. Sakada will be currently our right back. There is apparently someone interested in Awanu as well, which if they are, they're going to have to pay us a transfer fee for him. But as it stands at the moment, he will go somewhere in the midfield. I forget what his favourite position is now. He prefers to be the defensive midfielder as a deep line playmaker. So it's a defensive midfielder at the moment. We can change that around. Uata, he prefers to be defensive midfield as well. I mean, we might even play him as a defensive midfielder. And I think that's what we will do. We'll put him there, then play Awanu as the deep line playmaker. Lean J would be one of our centre backs. So we bung him in there for now. And that is pretty, I mean, we've got Amori as well. I mean, I don't even know where we'd play Amori, to be quite honest. Would he play as a centre back? He likes to play there as well, but we can play him as a centre. He does like to be left footed. So at the moment, we can bung him in there, which if we go over to our tactics screen, basically gives us that as a squad, as a squad. So we've got a lot of work to do because this is not looking a particularly great team, I have to admit. We've got no striker at the moment. I was considering playing like a 4-2-4 type formation and having two strikers up top. That may still be something we can do, but at the moment we need a right back, we need a midfielder. We can change the midfield roles around. It's not set in glue for that. But yeah, we definitely need a right back, a central midfielder and a striker before we then start working on filling out the rest of our squad with something. God knows what. But I'll come back to you when I've got some more news. Okay, I bring you back with a major development. Kento Awano is on his way out of the club to join Chiba. He's basically the best player we've got at the club. He's a terrific midfielder for us. But Chiba came in with an offer of £250,000. Well, actually, they came in, it started off as around 120,000, and the highest end of his valuation was 250 grand. So I basically just said, give me 250k or you're not getting him. They come back and accepted and agreed to pay it. After that, Nara Club then came in with an offer of £300,000, which the board didn't give me an option on. They just accepted on my behalf and said it's too good to turn down. And of course, he's chosen the lesser of the offers than the bigger one. So he's offered £250,000. Now this could potentially be massive, because if we're allowed to use some of this in our wage budget, this will absolutely fund a rebuild this summer. and we've left it quite late to start. We've only got about a month until the season starts, and we've not actually signed anybody. So we're going to accept that offer. There you go. We've confirmed the deal. We'll click continue, and if we go to our finances, we've got £276,000 now in our transfer budget. Our current spending is 12,000. We've committed spending is 13,600. So we've again gone back to having about £8,000 in our wage budget at the moment, and they are letting us put quite a bit of that as well into it. We need to leave some money in here, so we can then click confirm. We've now got around £12,000 to spend on wages, on bringing players in. So if we look at the squad we've got left, this is what we are at the moment. And we've been playing decent in pre-season. We've been playing teams that are rubbish, let's be honest. But there's some star ratings gone up, some attributes have gone up and all that sort of stuff. And this is kind of how we've lined up. We've got Lee and Jay and Naoki Suzu on the bench. We need to get a right back and a left back in. The right back, we would be looking at being a first choice. The left back, we would look at being a backup with Shibata able to play both roles from the subs bench. So ideally, we would have him down here. And then we need to sort out a midfield, because as it is at the moment, we have no central midfield now. We have Uata, who, again, is looking better. But we need a whole new midfield, a defensive midfield, a central midfielder on attack, a deep line playmaker on support. We need a striker. We need this role here. We have got these two lads, Wataru Nagai and Kaita Shibata. I'm going to get confused with all the Shibatas at this rate as well. They are two 17-year-olds that can play in both the defensive midfield roles. As you can see, Wataru Nagai does prefer to be more like a deep line playmaker. So in terms of our next game that we've got coming up, we could absolutely do something like that in terms of having a team to go out there. But yeah, transfer dealing wise, my priority is the midfield, a right back, a striker, and also, if possible, a backup left back. We do need a lot of players in though, because we have nobody left in it. This is basically our squad at the moment. It's 13 players. Centre back, we're kind of fine at centre back. We've got Lee and Jay and Suzu as our backup options to Amari and Hunu. So yeah, I'm going to bring some players in. I'm going to have a look at some free agents, some loan options, and let's see what this squad looks like by the time we are ready to start the new season. And I'll bring you back when we have some, hopefully, good news. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I am so happy. We've had an awesome transfer window, I think, anyway. Let's have a look at it. The season preview, by the way, has us finishing in 13th. We were 16th or 17th at the beginning of the transfer window. So we've moved up a little bit. I don't really take too much notice of the season preview. It's more often than not, it's wrong. But it's kind of a guide. So let's get straight into the transfers. And we have got a player coming in on 7th of July, striker, Oliver Pufflet, an Australian. And it says he'll be a terrific signing. I'm not overly confident in my scouts' ability to predict that, but we'll see what he's like. But whether he's good or not kind of doesn't really matter because of the transfer window we've had. But yeah, let's have a look at the transfer history. And we had Showa Mori come in at the end of last season on the 9th of December. And if we have a look at him, he's out at the moment. He's actually a best centre-back. I mean, look at that. He's 4.5 stars. He can play there or he can play there. Free transfer from Toshiki. And yeah, I'm just really happy with him. He seems like a really top quality centre-back. We won't be playing him as a wide centre-back. He'll be either a ball-playing defender or central defender, but it's still 4 stars either way. Look at his attributes. He looks pretty decent as well. He's not slow. I mean, he's not lightning quick, but you know, his acceleration is 13, even though his pace is only 8. So yeah, he came in at the back end of last season. And then you move forward to this season. We've got like 11 players here that we've brought in. We'll just go from top to bottom. But what I will say is, if you watched last season, you'd have seen that we were in a position where our first team squad, when everyone was fully fit, was reasonably decent. But when it comes to bringing players on from the subs bench, I had absolutely no confidence in bringing anybody in off the subs bench because they were just all rubbish, quite frankly. This season, I'm in a position where when I bring players in off the subs bench, I'm going to be confident in them. They're not as good as the first team, obviously, but they're not far off, to be quite honest. Right, Shahai Kamamura is the first one we get to. 29-year-old, I mean, jack of all trades, master of none. He's only 2.5 stars. But he can play in either of the two midfield positions. I'm really happy with him. I think he's a decent signing for us. The fact that our midfield is still pretty weak is probably the one area we've not bolstered up the most. But again, this was one of the many players we had that, according to my scouts, was like 3 to 3.5 star current ability. But when they get here, they're actually 2.5. But that's the beauty of lower league football in FM. You have to go by what your scouts say, especially when you enable player attribute mask and you can't see all the attributes yourself. You have to go for what your scouts say, and it's very hit and miss when you're in lower league. So he's the first one in. Ko Miyazaki is one of our strikers, 2.5 stars with 3-star potential. He was another one that, according to my scouts, was really, really good. All these players have come from getting them in on trial. We must have had like 50 players in 2 separate batches come in on trial rather, and he was one of them. All of their signings would have been from being on trial. We'll give him a go. We'll see what he can do. He's 25 years old. He's Japanese, lovely jubbly. Hiroto Iwabuchi can play out on the right or up top. 2.5 star current, 3.5 star potential. He's got some pretty decent attributes for this level. Like I say, he can play outside as an inside forward or a winger, or you can bung him up there and he can play as a poacher or an advanced forward, and we do tend to play with an advanced forward. Shohei Mishima comes in 3 stars for both, 29 years of age. He'll be playing in the middle of the park in one of these two positions. I do still need to work out what my best 11 is because I don't know at the moment, but that's going to be the beauty of the first couple of episodes of the new season. So yeah, he comes in. He can play out there if we want to drop our wide men back a little bit, but that's very unlikely to happen. So we will probably play him out here. But again, he can actually play in so many different positions, and yeah, he's 3 stars. Then we've got Ranjiro Mashida, 2.5 stars again. Plays in the centre of midfield again. When he came in, he was like 4 stars when we first signed him. Why he's dropped down to this, I don't know. But he's 28 years of age. He looks pretty decent for this level. Then Shuto Akaniwa comes in. He's 1.5 star. He can play right or left back. 1.5 star current with 3-star potential. The fact he's got potential is why I'm willing to go with him. He can put a bit of a cross in. He can accelerate a little bit, so he could be quite useful to us. Where did we get to? Was it this guy? I've completely lost track where we got to. That's it. So yeah, we've done Akaniwa, and then we've got Kasuku Fujioka. Again, I'm probably getting all these names wrong, and I do apologise. 2.5 stars again as a striker. Can play out on the left, can play on the right. It was key that we got some backup for players that can play in these wide positions as well. 30 years old. He's in. Akito Takaji is probably our best striker. 3 stars with 3.5 star potential. 27 years of age. Again, he'll be the advanced forward, not the target forward. But really happy with him. He's actually a vice captain as well. Then Masaya Kojima, who can play right or left, 2.5 star with 3-star potential. Can put in a decent cross and has got decent acceleration as well. So he could do a good job for us, especially if he plays on the left, even though we will most likely play him on the right most of the time. Then we have Kato Umeda, another striker, 3 stars for both, 27 years of age. Again, reasonable, decent-ish attributes. And Asuki Fukushima as a backup goalkeeper, because after I made all these signings, I suddenly realised I only had one goalkeeper. So I went out and rather panic bought a goalkeeper. And I actually think I've panic bought pretty well. 3 stars. He's 33 years of age. He's happy being a backup. He'll do a job for us. If we actually look at our tactics screen, this isn't with everybody. I mean, like Lee and Jay, for example, when I put him in there the previous day in game, he was 3.5 stars. He's now 3 stars. So don't pay too much attention to this. It does go up and down, but it can act as a good guide. Yoshimaru, for example, was also 5 stars recently. So, yeah, it is what it is. But this is the team that we're probably going to be going out with on the first game of the season. Amari, as you can see, is injured. He's out for another 2 weeks. Takagi is injured and out for 2 days. So he'll definitely miss the first game of the season. Will most likely miss the second game of the season. We are in a position where Nagai and Shibata, the two 17-year-olds that have a little bit of current ability with a little bit of potential, are still in our squad. They're actually on our bench. So they're players that I'm going to be less happy bringing on. But these 3, I think, can actually work really well. They just need to get a good run of form going. So it's our starting 11, as we'll be looking at for our episode tomorrow, the first 2 games, is Yoshimaru in goal, Akiyama and Kojima out wide in the wing-back roles, Lee and Jay and Hunu in the centre of defence, Mishima, Kamimura and Mashida in the midfield, with Sakada and Iwabuchi out wide and Miyazaki up front. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this season. I think we've got a very decent squad here. Like I say, it's not necessarily the greatest first team, but it's about the squad. And I'm feeling confident, folks. Let me know in the comments what you think of this transfer window, whether you think it's been a good one, a decent one, a rubbish one. And yeah, just let me know your general thoughts in the comments. I'll be fascinated to hear. I love reading your comments and replying to them as well. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you tomorrow for the first 2 episodes of our second full season with Fukushima United.